I'm going to hit a fade from an unusually strong grip. Now I'm going to hit a draw from an unusually weak grip. So if I can hit two very different shaped shots out of two completely opposite grips, does the grip really matter at all? Well, right after this, let's get into it. We'll talk about why it doesn't really matter that much, and I'll give you a couple of must-dos for your good grip. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. Thank you for all your support over the years. I hope if you're new, you will like and subscribe if you get enough value. So something very interesting to me is how so many golfers will get it all the way to the Hall of Fame with such different grips. Take somebody like a David Duval, maybe not quite a Hall of Fame level, but a tour winner multiple times, J.B. Holmes, and they have grips that were extremely strong, like this. And yet both of those players predominantly fade the ball. Then you might take somebody like a Ben Hogan, who had a very weak grip, as you can see evidenced right on the cover of his book, 5 Lessons. He had a very weak grip. Now I know Hogan faded the ball too, but you can absolutely be a draw player out of a weak grip and play very, very well. So again, the question is, does it really matter? Now, if you're going to fade the ball, you simply have to have the club face be open relative to the path it's traveling on. And most faders start the ball left with an outside to in path. So somebody like a Jack Nicklaus could hit a fade with a path that is 2 degrees to the left and a club face that is 1 degree to the left. So faders are fading it with a closed club face, just slightly open to the path. And the 2-to-1 ratio will bring that ball right back to the center line. Same thing with an in to out player. Let's say somebody like a Rory McIlroy. He might come 4 degrees from the inside on a driver, and if he has the club face 2 degrees closed to that path, which would be 2 degrees open relative to the target, he will draw it back to center. So that's all that really matters if you're trying to draw it or fade it. Now, how does somebody like a David Duval, who again, he was #1 in the world right before Tiger, such a good golfer, shoots a 59 to win the Bob Hope Open, very strong grip. And so how does he keep the face going through open to the path? He always liked the plane, his plane, to be a little bit above a neutral plane like this, so he could be outside in a little bit. The difference was what he did with his wrists and forearms through the impact zone. And so somebody like a David Duval with a very strong grip, in order to keep the face open, he's going to keep this forearm more in this pronated or anatomically correct position. In other words, he did not pronate at all, but his forearm stayed in this position with the fleshy part up, and he released the club head through without turning the forearm over at all. And so that's how you would hit a fade from a strong grip. It all depends on what you do with the forearm. So if I'm swinging like that with a very strong grip, I don't have to hold it to get my fade. I can slap through it. I just have to make sure that right forearm stays underneath as I go through impact like this. And so the toe of the club, get it from this angle, the toe of the club has got to stay up to the sky. Cannot let the toe of the club go over, but I am still flapping and releasing with the face up. And it's this manner. We'll take a nice strong grip here, and if I do this forearm action, And there we go. And I can get a little cut shot out of it as long as I don't try to pronate my right forearm over in the swing. I have to keep it under as if I'm going to kind of throw a screwball in a sidearm pitching position, or if I'm going to cradle a frisbee and make a forearm throw. You would not turn the forearm over throwing a frisbee like this. So it feels like that. Now conversely, if I'm going to take a weak grip, and what we mean by weak grip, Hogan had a 12 o'clock thumb straight down the top of the grip, and he had the V's of his right hand, the V on his right hand, more running up closer to his chin than his shoulder. So Hogan's grip looked a little bit more like that. Now, how did he do that? How could you hit a draw off of that? Well, the club face will probably be a bit more open throughout the entire swing. Therefore, you're going to have to use the forearm rotation over like this in order to close that face and get the draw to happen. So somebody might try to swing a little bit inside to out, get the forearm crossing over or pronating more. Let's give this a shot. There's my 12 o'clock thumb. Really weak right hand. Well, I'd have to practice it. I certainly hooked it. So the grip itself, as long as you match it up with the correct forearm action, it doesn't really matter that much. Now, can you go to the extremes and make it work? Unlikely. Here would be the extremes, right? So I've seen extremes during my lessons. I've seen people grip it like this and like this. You're going to have to at least be within reason with this rule, but you just match the hand and forearm action to the grip. Your brain will figure it out. If you know that you want to hit it straight and you just keep practicing until the ball goes straight, your brain will figure out what forearm action is necessary to hit it straight all the time. So getting the grip to be perfectly at 1 o'clock and the V's to match up, well, you know, you can always strive for improvement, but it doesn't always have to be perfect. You can have some variance there because golfers in the Hall of Fame had variance in their grip. Don't have to be cookie cutter to play good golf. You can have all kinds of personal idiosyncrasies. So what are some of what I think are the must-dos, more important must-dos for a good grip? And first of all, I will go to my grave telling you to grip the club at the base of the fingers in the left hand and not across the palm. The reason I like to do this is because the club head is so much more free to swing about the wrist 180 degrees like a pendulum. When you grip it, I think, across the palm, it just does not swing as freely and cannot be accelerated as quickly as when it's in the fingers. And so your top speed will be thrown out the window by 5 or 10 miles an hour without that. Now, secondly, I know these jumbo grips have kind of become a fad in the last couple of years, but I am not an advocate. In fact, you look at where I'm at with a mid-sized grip. Got pretty big hands. I've got 5th, 4th, and 3rd finger all digging into my palm. In other words, they're wrapped around the club with a vacuum seal, but I don't have to squeeze it tight. Now, I see so many people that cannot touch any of their fingers like this because they've got more cadet-sized hands, shorter fingers, cannot reach around the club far enough. And when that happens, you'll have to squeeze it harder in order to keep control of it. And your grip pressure goes out the window, your speed control goes out the window. The club will not naturally want a pendulum unless your grip kind of freewheels soft and relaxed at the bottom. If you have to squeeze it through to keep the club in control, then you're going to lose that electricity, that bullwhip sensation. So make sure that your grips are sized enough to where you can at least get your 4th finger to touch your palm easily. Therefore, you can swing into your follow through, not losing control of the club. And one more key for the grip that I think is more important than the strong or weakness of it is to make sure that you've got the thumb pinched or pinned up against the side of the hand, splitting into a V right at the bottom. That would look like this on the grip. I've got a crease that divides up into a V at the bottom. Again, I really like this because it gives us our best chance to whip the club free and for high speed, yet still maintain full control over the club face. So, take a look at these three things in action off of what I see as a probably a neutral to slightly strong grip. See that in action. There's a baby draw right onto the center line. Keep that in mind. I want to push you to focus and concentrate on things that are the most important. The impact zone, impact itself, more than being a perfect stickler for perfect grip, perfect setup, perfect takeaway, perfect on-plane backswing. Those things are great, but that's not what the Hall of Fame is filled with. The Hall of Fame is filled with variance and idiosyncrasies and all of these things. So you've got to figure out what's best for you, your physiology, your swing. It's going to help you hit the ball long and straight all the time. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate your support all this time. If you want to help support the channel for free, like, subscribe, comment down below, just to say hi and share this video with someone who might need some help. I'm Steve. Check out my website, hititlonger.com. And if I don't see you in the next video, I hope I see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.